central Taiwan, the year-end blessing ceremony was recently held with Master Cheng Yen giving her blessings. In our feature report, we take a look at two young medical workers who chose to serve in the rural areas in Hengchun. Selamat datang ke Dial Headline, saya Simon Gan. Terima kasih menyertai sesi berita kita. A year-end blessing ceremony was held in central Taiwan. Newly certified volunteer Wang Pingxiang and his newlywed wife Lai Yunru chose this day to also be their wedding day.
The Sutra of Innumerable Meanings was performed with Zhuang Fengming and his wife Guan Jiaqi amongst this crowd as newly certified volunteers.
We don't know when something will happen. Everything is already predestined.
After participating in an entrepreneur's camp and entering Tzu last year, Zhuang Fengming learned he had a brain tumor. After the operation, he continues to volunteer at the free clinic, a remote village, and after he recovered from serious illness, the couple accelerated their Tzu training.
We feel that we can't give this up. Doing good work cannot wait.
Wang Pingxiang and Lai Yunru have been part of the Tzu family from the children's class to Zhi Shao and Zhi Jing. They have vowed to carry rice baskets for Dharma Master Cheng Yen and made a major decision to commemorate their day of certification.
We apply on November 20th, and that is today's date, the day when the Master certified us, and it is also the day of our marriage.
The year-end blessings were shared by many volunteers in Fengyuan. They participated in a study club to purify their hearts and minds. Tai Henli has been enjoying his life in the past, but the study club has helped him change.
We use our limited life to achieve infinite wisdom.
希望佛法呢，真正注入人心呐，人人体会到佛法为人间如何呢？ 扫除了无明烦恼。
Birth, old age, sickness, and death is part of life. The Master encourages everyone to learn the Dharma diligently and take the Dharma to heart and putting it into practice.
In Taichung, Tzu volunteers performed a sutra adaptation at the year-end blessing ceremony. Liao Guangbo, who is almost 80 years old, just had a surgery last week, and now he's performing in the sutra adaptation.
There's still an hour before the sutra adaptation begins, as 70-year-old Liao Guangbo rehearses. Around mid-November, he was hospitalized due to appendicitis. Although his body was in rough conditions, he still thinks about participating in the year-end blessing ceremony.
I was practicing, and within a glimpse I saw him do it too, so I thought of taking a photo of him.
After Liao Guangbo left the hospital, he insists on joining the sutra adaptation.
I move with ease. It doesn't hurt at all. I thought I should come here and receive the Master's blessing.
Chanting with a bright tone, every single word represents Dharma enriching one's mentality.
I'm happy because there are many other Tzu family members here, performing sign language together.
This is for the Tzuchi's aunties and uncles, also for Master Cheng Yen.
Tzu volunteers from Taichung's Fengyuan, Dongshi, Houli, and Shengang districts perform humanitarian values.
大家人爱修好缘，要珍惜这一份菩萨缘，有你有他。 有我，才能成就这一份缘。
Volunteers presented meaningful performance to show their determination to uphold the Buddha's mind and the Master's vow.
Today, we meet a motorcycle shop owner Chai Heng Li. In the past, he spent much time enjoying life. More than 10 years ago, he got in contact with Tzu. After that, he realized that giving of himself makes him truly happy and has ever since been dedicating himself to volunteer service.
The owner of this motorcycle shop in Fengyuan is skillful in repairing motorcycles. In addition, he's familiar with all kinds of machine parts.
We need to maintain machines and extend the life of the items.
After repairing the lawnmower, the volunteer can put it into good use. While cleaning the environment, he also purifies his mind.
We have tamed our daily behavior and temper. I've also lowered my desires. I've tamed my temper a lot.
降下来，就是熟练很多。
In the past, Tsai likes to shop and drink alcohol. After joining Tzu Chi, he has changed for the better.
不好的行为。
I've gotten rid of my bad behaviors. I've adopted a vegetarian diet for about 10 years. It is no problem as we pay attention to nutrition. I do not have 3 highs.
More than 10 years ago, he got into contact with Tzu Chi because he wanted his child to attend Tzu Chi child's class. Unexpectedly, he has gained more than his child. He was inspired and formed good affinity with Tzu Chi.
拄啊上因开始吼，叫咱人心念爱立大因成大果。
After joining Tzu Chi, I've tamed my greed and desires.
Tsai usually carries his volunteer uniform with him so that he can volunteer wholeheartedly when any disaster strikes. Despite his busy work, he dedicates himself to volunteer service.
In Albay Province, the Philippines, 19,000 typhoon-affected households have received emergency subsidies from Tzu Chi. Today, we'll bring you to the distribution scenes at Guinobatan and Tabaco.
I am deeply touched because we really feel the sincerity of these volunteers.
We're going to use this money given by Tzu Chi to fix our house.
Our life here is hard, really hard. I often cry because I'm the only one who takes care of my mother. I did not expect to receive so much money from Tzu Chi. I can now use it to buy medicine for my mother.
Kinakain niya oat milk. Lahat kami na-amaze.
Such a huge amount of subsidy is indeed a great help for many people, especially for those like me whose houses were completely destroyed by the typhoon. It feels like I was receiving hope in life.
Ngayon hindi pa nagpapato dahil walang pera.
We finally have a bed in the evacuation center so that my children no longer need to sleep on the floor but can sleep comfortably in a bed. We feel relieved.
In Malaysia, Kedah Tzu Chi volunteers continue to promote vegetarianism. They also make donations and inspire people's love to pray for the typhoon-affected residents in the Philippines.
Preparing 300 vegetarian lunchboxes for dialysis patients, their families, and volunteers has become a daily routine for Kedah Tzu Chi volunteers.
In our safe country, we hope to inspire people's love to donate to international disaster relief work. Everyone can bless themselves as well as praying for the world.
Upon learning about the typhoon disaster in the Philippines, everyone prays for the affected residents after completing their cooking jobs.
We do not know when impermanence will strike. When we have the opportunity to do good deeds, we have to do it. There are a lot of people who need help. It is just that we did not see them. We need to appreciate what we have.
We should listen to the master and adopt a vegetarian diet. In addition, we need to inspire people's love so that there can be less disasters in the world.
As disaster strikes in different parts of the world, we need to promote vegetarianism and inspire people's love and compassion.
In order to fill the lack of insufficient medical care in Hung Chun, many young medical staff went to the countryside at public expense and left when the 4-year period expired. In our following feature report, we take a look at 2 young medical workers who chose to stay and safeguard the health of the people living in the rural areas.
啊，你是从哪边回来？
高雄啊。
哦，每个礼拜要这样子坐车坐多少次？
大概每个礼拜至少2、3次吧，来回这样子2、3次这样。像人家通常都说我来这边。
People usually say that I came here for so long, how can I stay white?
他说当然白啊。
I told them I'm white because I work in the day and the nighttime.
在白天，要么就是在晚上。
The dorm is not big, yes, it's just a simple place to sleep.
睡觉的地方。
是不是有时候常常会没有时间吃饭？
对啊，其实蛮常比较忙的时候就没有吃啊，想说其实也没有关系。
There are only 6 doctors under 40 in Hongchuan Christian Hospital. Lin Zijun, 38, is a rare young doctor.
Different from general clinic doctors, when I go to work, it is 12 hours of emergency duty. That is, if I'm on 12 hours, I'm not at home all the time. So my wife is like a single parent. At first, it was just taking care of one child, but then it was 2, which is very hard.
After traveling 2.5 hours by bus to Hongchuan, Dr. Lin Zijun immediately becomes a medical driver.
Usually about once or twice a month, I teach on campus. At present, it is mainly schools as well as bed and breakfast and restaurants, because the tourist population here is relatively high.
高品质的 CPR 这是个非常重要的，所以我们的重点在于你要压的位置是对的。
对，他说分析病人心率，请勿碰触病人。
He's very familiar with first aid. He teaches very seriously, and at the clinic will often help us with teaching.
If you encounter a child who has a serious injury, we can rush them for care, but if we can do first aid first, this will protect safety of child.
上次的那个骨盆的那个固定带的那一个东西。
In 2017, it was possible to end his public service in Hongchuan, but Lin Zijun chose to stay and continue to serve. Although he was separated from his wife and children in Kaohsiung, he was very willing to continue work in Hongchuan.
在大都会的地区。
In metropolitan areas, there are so many doctors as there's really no shortage of people like me. But if there are fewer emergency doctors here, maybe the patient will really have much less of a survival chance. I really think I made the right decision.
选择我做一个对的事情。
这里是含刮那个吗？龟筋。
50-year-old head nurse Shen Meiyu has served in Hongchuan for 22 years. She once left, but a sense of responsibility made her return to her hometown and stick to her post.
在城市上班的话。
When you work in the city, you'll feel that you just want to do your job. But here, it's like what the Bible says. We have to take care of people's body and mind, not just his illness.
不是单单只有他的疾病而已。
For the patient, she'll be very cautious in asking about the patient's current physical feelings and give the most appropriate suggestions.
他几乎都是平躺的。
There's a shortage of nursing staff in rural areas, and it is almost normal for one person to be used by multiple patients.
In the past, my unit, including me, only had 3 people left. But among them, my partner is very important. They're willing to spend time like this when our nursing staff has scarce manpower. It was great.
Rural hospitals are not better than urban hospitals, but doctors or nurses are still willing to take responsibility and assume the difficult medical mission in Hongchuan.
The former superintendent of Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital, Dr. Zheng Wenbing, has recently passed away at the age of 98. A memorial service and a memorial seminar will be held on December 20th, commemorating his clinical and academic research achievements in the field of medicine.
With deepest respect, these healthcare workers are paying their last tribute to Dr. Zheng Wenbing, the former superintendent of Hualien Tzu Chi Medical Center.
你的贡献让我们后代的一些医学生，还有一些药师们能够得到很大的帮助，谢谢你。
Many healthcare workers went to the memorial hall to pay the last tribute to him every day, as everyone has a deep impression on his concern about the quality of medical care and his dedication to nurturing tenants.
He kept telling us to take the medical records of the resident doctors and attending physicians very seriously. because this is a basis for training a good physician.
I learned from Superintendent Zeng that he was very serious in his work and also very encouraging to his subordinates.
Hualien Tzu Medical Center plans to hold a memorial service and an academic seminar on December the 20th to commemorate the medical achievements of Superintendent Zeng Wenbin.
The first one is the Blackfoot disease, which was his most outstanding work that imposed a great impact on the world. The second one is the prevention and treatment of high blood pressure. He has been promoting it from National Taiwan University to the east coast of Taiwan. The last one is how to treat vascular diseases and acute disease. We will base on these three themes to commemorate the late Superintendent Zeng.
Turning mourning into blessing, Superintendent Zeng Wenbin's contribution to medical care will continue to safeguard people's health through the efforts of medical team.
Dr. Cheng Wenbin has dedicated over 50 years in the field of medicine, setting a great example for other doctors to follow. Even when he was in his 80s, he would still listen to talks to learn new things. Follow a report as we learn more.
I remember that he will slowly ask his patient questions, very calm and friendly. Sometimes he will converse with the patient in Taiwanese language, talking with them in a friendly manner.
The memories of him following Dr. Cheng during his houseman is still fresh. Dr. Cheng Wenbin treats his patient like his own family members. He is the true role model in the hearts of his students.
Being able to see the smiles on their faces, this is the biggest accomplishment for us as medical professionals.
In 1986, he quitted his job as a deputy superintendent of the National Taiwan University Hospital and headed over to Hualien's Tzu Hospital to serve. Following his teacher's footsteps, Chen Yinghe is the first doctor who came to Hualien Tzu Hospital to sign up willingly.
He is my senior. He has helped me a lot, encouraged me and guided me. He always gave his fullest support to his staffs and juniors.
Besides guiding the younger generations of doctors, he also learns from them. Although he's over 80 years old, he is still like the rice paddy, bending down, ever so humble. He listens to talks. Just as the saying goes, there is no end in learning. His passion towards the medical field has always remained the same.
I said, "Teacher, why are you here?" He told me that even though he is old now, but he needs to learn the newest emergency rescue protocol. To be honest, at his age and status, he does not need to work during the shifts. There's not much chance for him to use the information he has learned, but he has high interest. So I think that Professor Zeng is a teacher that we need to look up upon.
Field of medicine requires a lifetime of learning. As long as I'm still alive, I will not leave this profession.
Although his time here has come to an end, but looking back, he has dedicated half of his lifetime towards the field of medicine. He upheld his duty as a professor, teaching the knowledge he knows towards his students. In his lifetime as a doctor, he has always held onto his initial aspiration, leaving endless memories for others to remember. At the Luoshui Tzu Service Center in Sichuan, volunteers held a health seminar for local recycling volunteers and community elders. They also invited doctors to discuss how to care for the chronic diseases in winter.
Although this person uses a cane, the pace is actually quite amazing. Elders can still consult with doctors in person. Meng Lijie, Deputy Director of TCM at Chengdu Second People's Hospital, continues to work even on her days off.
I came to participate in this Tzu event today. Although it is taking up my leisure time, there are many patients here. From the bottom of my heart, I don't feel tired. I feel very happy.
The elderly prefer traditional Chinese medicine, and it is actually more suitable for them. Because of this, we invited 2 experts to come and do consultations.
Elders in their 70s and 80s have been participating in recycling since 2008, going into small alleys and lanes to family homes to collect recyclables and passing on the spirit to the next generation.
Picking up these recyclables shows that they still have their original intention, as we have to do this no matter how tired we are.
In the winter, the Luoshui Tzu Service Center encouraged everyone to look after their health so the road of environmental protection can continue long into the future.
In Paraguay, Tzu Chi volunteers recently helped out a family of 7. The man of the house originally worked on a farm, but he suddenly lost his job and was asked to leave. After Tzu Chi volunteers assessed the situation, they brought needed items for the family.
A table that can sit 7 people, a bed frame and mattress. These items help liven up Janet Martinez's previously empty home.
Thank you to the foundation, the bed for our home. My children and I don't have to sleep on the ground anymore. I'm so thankful. We now have new beds, closets and fan. These are all the items we need in our home. Thank you to the volunteers.
Due to COVID's influence, Martinez's husband suddenly lost his job. Thus, Tzu Chi volunteers from Ciudad del Este reacted quickly to help this family in need.
In Tainan, 18-year-old Ye Junyi started working part-time in the morning and studies at night after his dad was diagnosed with cancer. Due to the pandemic, his income was decreased, but he took the initiative to ask for a dishwashing job in the hotel. Although he's young, his hands are very quick and agile. 18-year-old Ye Junyi is working part-time at a hotel, washing dishes to help out his family's financials.
I am an only child. There's no other siblings to help me shoulder this responsibility.
I told him that if he's tired, he can take a break. He would tell me okay, but he never takes a break.
Junyi's mother is a new immigrant from Vietnam, and because her husband has stage 4 osteosarcoma, she has to take care of him and can only make handicrafts at home.
Compared to other children, I think that my son is quite mature and understands lots of things. In part, I think because I'm a foreigner.
Junyi, who is a filial son, understands his family's financial difficulties. Therefore, he takes on part-time jobs while studying. He is studying in the Department of Restaurant Management, and he never forgets the importance of education.
Although his father is sick at home, he is still very active in participating in the school's activities.
I believe that in the future I will reciprocate back towards them, not just only them, but there's still many people out there who might be in more hardships than us, and I would want to help them too.
He has found confidence in the field of restaurant management. He is determined to use his own abilities to support his family and also others who might need his help in the future. In Tainan, over 200 teachers and students from Tzu Chi Senior High School work together and clean up the local beach. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you and goodbye.